your own personal freedom device. In fact, there's a lot of places in this truck act. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. If you haven't seen the last Grandpa update, check out that video for the unboxing of this engine. But I mean, basically, you know, here it is. So this is a 427. To answer a few questions about the engine, you know, a lot of people saying, you know, what is the difference if one engine is a 427 and another one's a 427? What is the difference? Well, really, you know, just because an engine is a 427 and it happens to be 427 cubic inches doesn't mean it's like any other engine out there. So it's custom built. It's totally different. Saying that two engines are the same just because they are both 427s is like saying that a LS9 from a 2013 ZR1 and an LT1 from a 2014 Stingray is the same, which of course they are not anything at all the same. This engine is built to be in a race car for a drag racing application. It's built to handle a ton of boost and big power, but it's also, you know, I expect it to be also a streetable engine, something that you can drive if you want to, and I definitely want to drive this, you know, from time to time on the street. It's not going to be just a race car, and I felt like that was important for the engine to be able to do both. Is it the same as Leroy's new engine? Well, truthfully, it's not. Leroy's engine is now a cast iron block, which, if you don't know about iron and aluminum, big difference there, but basically the cast iron block is going to be able to handle even more power and more boost without flexing, and that's what he's going for. He's going for a lot more power than this too. This is an aluminum block, and theoretically it'll hold that big power, but that is one huge difference between the two is, you know, aluminum versus cast iron. I'm telling you right now, I am not shooting for 1500 horsepower. Not yet. You know, maybe someday. Maybe someday Grandpa could be ready for a Leroy and a lot more power, but I'm not shooting for that. Not yet. 427, great engine choice, very popular. And even back in the day, about 2 years ago, believe it or not, K-Tech wanted to build me their 427 NA package for my old Z06. They make a 700 horsepower NA 427. And I didn't go with it, even though back then I wanted it. And now to finally have one is pretty cool. I am very excited for this upload. And if you guys are here for the truck stuff, I'm sure you will be too. We were lucky enough to take delivery of today. We were lucky enough to be lent one of the only, I don't want to say one of the only ones out there, because they are on dealership lots now, and you know, they're available. You can buy one, but I haven't seen any on the road yet, and they're definitely pretty rare, and that is the 2019 Silverado, as the title would suggest. So I have it right here in the driveway, and we're looking at the back end right now, obviously, and I know that the well, not just the back end, the looks overall, I do realize are controversial, to say the least. But I gotta say, the more I look at it, the more I warm up to it. It's a little bit like blocky and angular when you first look at it. It's kind of almost, to me, I mean, I hate to say it, but I think of right away, I think of a Toyota Tundra, the new one. But really, the looks have grown on me, and I really am beginning to love this truck. So I'm gonna give you a little tour of the truck today. And of course, we are going to drive it and see how it does on the road. So like I said, let's go ahead and start right here at the back. So kind of old school right away. They brought back the nameplate in the middle of the tailgate like there used to be on the old trucks. Now, it used to be a piece of metal that they laid across, and it said it had Chevrolet like inlaid in the metal. They didn't do it for a few years and a few generations, but they brought it back, and I really like it. And it's actually stamped into the tailgate itself. Now, I know that Chevy made all their ridiculous commercials making fun of Ford about using aluminum for the bed of their truck, and you know, pretty much the whole truck now. But guess who is now using aluminum? That's right, Chevrolet is using aluminum, which is it's a good thing, guys. For anybody who doesn't know, you know, aluminum is just as strong as steel. And you know, it's much lighter. It's better to use. That's why, you know, performance, like there's aluminum parts on my McLaren 570. There's a reason for it. So also looking at the tailgate right away, you can open it like a normal tailgate just by hitting the button here, which makes things a lot easier. Now I know that that's not necessarily a new thing, but it's really nice and convenient to have. I know Ford has, you know, they have it. I think Dodge does as well. But you can put it up, and it's really easy to put up and down. And also, of course, it's the soft open, just like, you know, every new Chevy truck. You can just, you know, let it fall, and it falls really easily. Also, again, not unique to the 2019 Silverado, but you do have the option of using the key fob to open the tailgate. Press that twice, and it comes down. Again, you know, if you're carrying something, it makes your life easier. For the 2019 redesign, Chevrolet also brought back the steps here in the bumpers, so you can step up into the bed. Now, unlike Ford, it doesn't have a pull-down step, so when you have a Ford, you actually have a little thing that you pop out here, and it's like a little step that comes down, and you have a handle that you can put up. But honestly, I think that's more of a gimmick. I don't think that's really necessary, and I feel like it's more complicated. This is really easy. It's low to the ground. You can easily step up in there and get up into your bed or lift something up. And honestly, I mean, if you can't do this, then, you know, I'm not sure what you're going to be lifting anyway. One thing that is a little bit weird about the redesign is these new exhaust tips. They are hexagonal, and you can see they're not real, you know, they're like a lot of new cars where it's not, this isn't the actual tip, this is just a design piece, and then there's a circular piece in here. But I mean, it's all right. And let's go ahead and take a listen to that exhaust. Not really much to listen to, but it is the factory exhaust, and you can fix that with an aftermarket part if you want. Moving on to the actual bed, you can see here we have the factory installed bed liner, very tough, very durable. They also added these bed LED lights, which I think is great. All trucks should definitely have that. Plenty of tie down areas for anything that you're hauling, and you can see over here is a little spot where there would be a I don't know if I can get this out, but this is where there would be a power outlet there. You can option this truck to have a power outlet. This one doesn't have it, but that's why that little square is there in case you were wondering. Looking at the side of the truck, I feel like this is very Toyota-like here, all the angles and everything, but it's not a bad looking truck. It's pretty handsome. I do like the wheels they have on this. This is for the Z71 package. You can get these graphite wheels, which I think are pretty cool, 20-inch with a big tire. And you know, the side profile is, I would say, pretty good, not offensive, but not anything crazy either. And the roof line looks pretty long, and it has this nice little kind of spoiler on there with the third brake light up on top. And you can see the roof is I don't know what you would call it, but you know, it has for aerodynamics, I would assume, up there. Overall, side of the truck looks good. The only thing I don't like, and I think it looks a little awkward, and you guys can feel free to chime in here, but these mirrors, I'm not loving the mirrors. I think they look a little bit weird. The fact that they're not up here on the window, you know, it could be the same mirror, but I think it would look a lot better if it was up here on the window as opposed to on the door. I think that it just kind of looks strange to me, and I'm not a huge fan of that. Other than that, though, I like it. I think it looks pretty neat, and it's you know, it's a good looking truck. Got the Z71 badge here on the side, kind of like the GMCs used to have for the old model years. Now they moved it up here for Chevys as well. Just like that, boys, we are at the front of the truck. Now this is the big one here. This is where people either love it or hate it. And I have to say, when I first saw it, I was in the boat where I thought it looked pretty good. You know, now they included this front end styling on the new Camaro. I'm not a huge fan, but for the truck, I think it works rather well. And I really like the way this is cut in here, how it has this piece. It looks kind of, you know, it looks interesting. If you ever played Halo, it kind of looks like an Elite, one of the Elites in Halo. Now that shows you how big of a nerd I really am, but on the inside, but that's it kind of looks like an Elite helmet there. I don't know, that's just the vibe I get. Now here's something you don't see on every truck. It does in fact have carbon fiber on the inside of the headlight. Now I don't think it's real carbon fiber, but it is a pretty cool little detail, the fact that they would add that in. You see the headlights, of course, we got LEDs, all the whole 9 yards like modern trucks do. And something else that you're not used to seeing on trucks is functional aero, because it's a truck. I mean, mine is an actual brick driving down the street. I'll explain why I don't have a tailgate in a later video. But this actually has a functional, pretty large vent here to shoot air around the body. Now, I'm not quite convinced as to what advantage this is giving us here, because I mean, yeah, air is going through it, but you could also just not have this piece of the body at all, and the air would just flow around the side. So I mean, I'm sure it does something, and the GM engineers know better than I, but there you go. It does have a functional vent. But I really like the front. You know, I think that profile there is neat. I think it looks good with a black badge on it, and the color scheme, you know, black. I wouldn't like if it You know, I would not like it if this was all chrome, but I think black looks really cool, especially with the carbon fiber. So here is your little unlock, and also the turn signal, of course. And you can light up all that stuff here. LEDs, really cool. I love that. And also the turn signal there and the headlight itself with low beams and high beams. So I really like the front end, especially when it's lit up. I think you can see it's pretty, I mean, to me, that is pretty cool looking. Now moving on to the inside of the truck. Now this is the most important part really, because you know, you can style the outside of a vehicle however you want it, but the important stuff is how it drives and the inside where you spend all your time. And of course, you know, it has to look good as well from the outside, but this is really more important. So the inside is totally redesigned. And in my opinion, it's pretty nice. It's a lot nicer than it was. You can see they even have a little parking brake down here. And it's pretty loud. Few little things to note before you even really get in the truck. When you first open the door, they now have a grab handle here on the driver's side, which, believe it or not, they did not have for the previous generation. So they added, they had one for the passenger side, but not the driver's side. So it's really nice that they added that. That's a little detail I love. The door itself is redesigned too. And one of the things that I noticed right away, and this was always a beef I had with the old generation, and that was when you are driving the truck and you go and if you're driving the truck and you're resting your hand here, you always went for this, which was your the back windows, because the way it was laid out, the back windows are right where your hand is. But now when your hand is resting here, they're kind of resting, your hand is going to be resting on the front window controls. So that's one little detail that you wouldn't know unless you've driven one, but trust me, it's nicer to have the layout that it now has. Of course, over here, pretty similar. It's a different layout, but it's the same general buttons that it's always been on the left side of the steering wheel. You have your light controls. You have your, you can change the brightness of your dash and everything like that. You got your bed light, and you have your fog lights. You got your four-wheel drive system, 4 high, 4 low, and you have your trailer brake set up right there, which is pretty nice. I like that. This is where the only place I like the exterior of the Silverado. I think they've added a lot of cool stuff. They've made it very modern. But the one place where it does kind of fall behind still, in my opinion, is the gauge cluster and really the interior as a whole. Now, this is not the most optioned truck you can get. This one's only about 50,000 bucks, which might sound like a lot, but really for modern trucks, that's not a lot at all. And it is the Z71, and it's got a lot of cool stuff. But even if you get the most optioned Silverado you can get, and you're talking like, you know, $80,000, $90,000 for a 3500 dually truck with everything on it, possibly even over 100, you don't really get anything new here. And to me, this interior is just not up to snuff when you compare it to a Ford and a Dodge, especially the Dodge interior with that new huge screen, kind of like a Tesla, which is where a lot of cars are going. And some people might really not like that. Some people might like the old buttons, but I myself, maybe because I'm a younger guy, I love the tech. You know, I would love a bigger screen. I would love anything more on a screen, less buttons, I think is good. Now, I still want buttons for the power and volume. I love that. You got to have that. And I do like a home button. And I do like HVAC controls as buttons, believe it or not. I hate when AC controls are on a screen only. So I like the fact that they kept that, but the screen should be not only bigger in my opinion, but also include more info. One thing they did include here, which I love, I'm a huge fan of this, and it's something I complained about for a long time with the old trucks, old meaning, you know, last year's model. You could spend, again, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 on a truck and not get push button start. Now, that's not like a fancy thing because I want to be fancy. Hell, I daily drive an 05 Silverado. But it's nice because you don't have to worry about taking the key out of your pocket. You don't have to worry about scratching up your steering column. You know, you see on truck, look at any car that has, you know, where you start it with a key, you'll see a bunch of scratches here where people, you know, try to jam the key in. You don't have to worry about that. So if the key never leaves your pocket, the chances of losing it are a lot less. It's just a lot more convenient to have push button. And finally they have it. Now, when they put this truck on display at the auto show, it didn't have that, and I was really bummed about it. But as you can see here, they do in fact have push button start now finally. So like any other vehicle, foot on the brake, and it fires right up. What I'm saying here though, the font is just, it doesn't look very, it's still the same Chevy font. It doesn't look very modern to me. I do love the 4 pods. I like that look a lot. But really, and the screen in here is not, you know, not great either. And you can see, you can scroll through here. Now this is something I don't like as well. You would think, oh, you press the arrow buttons, but no, they don't. The side ones work, but the top arrow doesn't work. Instead of using an arrow, use a little wheel to go through your options. So, I mean, it's all right, but I would prefer a button, because this is one of those things where if you're scrolling through and you want to go, if I'm at units and I want to go to info page, you know, maybe I accidentally scrolled too far, or if I want to scroll down, now I skipped one, I have to really be careful. And when you're driving, it's a little bit better when you use your thumb, but when you're driving, you don't want to be like trying to mess with this button. You just want to press a button. If I want to go up one, I click one, easy. And then going over as well, and going back home. But you can see it does offer you a lot of info. There's your tire pressure, oil life, fuel range, trip, speed, and there's a lot of other pages as well. This one's kind of neat. It shows you the angles of the truck and what drive you're in, which I think is cool. Once again, if you had a truck with some different options, these would be power outlets down here, which is really nice to have. This truck, again, does not have them, but that is really nice. And everything here is pretty familiar. You got auto stop start, which thankfully they included a button for. I hate when modern vehicles have auto stop start. I don't know a single person, not a car person anyway, who actually likes the fact, if their vehicle turns off at a red light. I think it's terrible. And you got a lot of things here. You can press a button to drop down your tailgate, descent control, traction control, and then here is the screen. So it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is great. But even here, the screen doesn't, to me, look very, it doesn't look very fun. It doesn't look very fancy. It's very simple. The buttons are all, just kind of like regular buttons. And, I would like it if it showed something really cool. It just doesn't look, and maybe you can change this. Maybe you can change all this stuff. Let me go into settings and see how this works. Display, turn display off, CarPlay, phone, audio, all this stuff. So it's it's your pretty basic system. That goes to music, nav, phone, home, and there you go. One cool detail I did find though here looking through the system is you can turn on the camera at any time you want. So if you're driving down the road and if the tailgate was up, moving on to the passenger side of the truck, you can see we have not one glove box, but two glove boxes, a little storage compartment up here and the more traditional glove box down below. And the seats have a nice party trick as well. So not unlike most new vehicles, you do have the center console here with ample cup holder space and storage space and some extra space underneath the lid. With a phone holder in there, by the way. But not only do you have that, which is it's not as deep in this truck because it does have a center seat, but you can fold this up and have an extra passenger, or you have another kind of secret compartment down here under the seat where you could put things. You could put your Street Speed 717 official merch down there, link down below for that if you wanted, or you could even put your own personal freedom device in there as well, or two. It's up to you. Rest assured, it is going to fit in your 2019 Silverado. One of the great advantages of trucks is that because they're so big, you get massive, massive rear seat space. Now, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm only about 5'9", but I am rather fat. I weigh almost 190 pounds. And I have so much room in here to the left, to the right, got plenty of leg room. It's really, really nice back here. And you can see the rear passengers do have AC vents and little USB charging ports as well. But yeah, super, super nice in the back. Has a little pull down thing. And this is the cloth interior. If you get a leather one, it's a little bit, it's a little bit nicer. But this works great and is a totally comfy place to be. You could easily take a road trip back here. Matter of fact, if you wanted to, if you were taking a road trip, you could probably take a big nap. I can pretty much lay down in the back of one of these trucks and it's really, really comfortable. I could definitely be driven around and chauffeured in a 2019 Silverado. Here I have the window sticker for this 2019 Silverado 4-wheel drive RST crew cab. And this is equipped with the 5.3 liter familiar Ecotec V8 with the 8-speed automatic transmission. And the exterior color is Cajun red tint coat. GM and their tint coats, I don't know why, and I keep leaning on this body panel and it keeps going in because it's aluminum. Standard price for one of these trucks is $44,500, which I have to say is actually really competitive, and I think a good price for sure, 44 grand. This one, like I said, is $51,000. Some options were Z71 off-road and protection package, $2,485, but you get a lot for your money there. Actually, you get off-road shocks, suspension, which I'm sure is probably like an 1.5 2 inch block in the back, little lift up front. Skid plates, air cleaner, high capacity air cleaner, a 2-speed electronic transfer case, Z71 badge, exhaust, dual exhaust, matter of fact, with polished outlets, 20-inch painted aluminum wheels, all-terrain tires, wheelhouse liners, rear all-weather floor liners, Chevy Tech spray-on bed liner, All-Star Edition. Optional engine, 5.3 Ecotec V8 with dynamic fuel management, $1,395. Cajun red tint coat, $495, bringing your total to $50,950 plus $1,495 destination. So do I think this truck is worth $51,000? That is the question. And 51 grand is a lot of money, but really not a whole lot of money in the modern era of trucks. 51 grand is really kind of like your mid-range, and they can quickly get a lot more expensive than that. I don't know, 51 grand, I think based on the competition, I would say it is, but it's lacking behind in still a few areas like the infotainment center and the interior. It's not modern enough. It's not as good as the Ford interior, not as good as the Dodge either. I would say it is good to go, except it also doesn't match the Ford's tech. The Ford has that awesome bird's eye view of the truck when you're parking and towing. This truck does not have it. That is really, really cool and something that's, you know, great for daily driving. I think, in my opinion, just a few solid upgrades to bring it up to the truly modern high-tech era of trucks. Driving the 2019 Silverado, and when this truck first came out, I made a video saying that this was going to be my next truck because I've been looking for a while at buying a new truck. My Duramax, I'm keeping that, of course, that's never going anywhere, but it's my baby. You know, I don't really want to use it for towing and use it for work, and it's got huge tires on everything. It's more like my fun semi-daily driver weekend truck, and if I need to haul something. But I've been looking to get, you know, a new daily driver truck, and that's what I'm about. You know, I love my cars, you know, I love sports cars, love my Corvette, love my McLaren, but I'm really a truck guy. And I loved the styling of this truck when it first came out. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. I thought it was pretty cool. And I have to say, you know, I can almost forgive entirely the lacking infotainment center and the extra tech goodies. I can almost forgive that for how good this truck drives. And I'm not kidding you. And, you know, people sometimes think like I advertise. GM doesn't pay me a dime. And I'll be the first one to tell you that the old trucks weren't that good to drive. I actually prefer my generation of truck to the 2014 and up because they felt really sloppy. They felt really, really sloppy. The 2014 through 2018 trucks, Corvette over there. And this truck got rid of all that. One of the biggest complaints is, well, here, I want to demonstrate this too. This is freaking awesome. So I love the fact that the one thing about Dodge is I hate, and I would never buy one, even if it was the best truck in the world. I would never buy one because of this fact. I hate the dial transmission selector. I love the fact that this is on the column, old school, and this has the notchiest feel ever. Like, each gear has its own, like, really nice notch, and I love it when you go into drive. Like, I love that. That's what you want in a truck. It feels like a damn truck. I love that. And acceleration is really good too. One of the things I love about this, and I hated about the 2014s and up, was the fact that the pedal, the gas pedal, was either everything or nothing. You pressed it, all you got was lag, and it had like half the travel of the pedal was just dead space. You got nothing. This one, not only is it instant, like look at that, right away. And I know you can't feel it, I'm sure it doesn't come through the camera that well, but it's right away. It's instant. When you're leaving a stoplight or a stop sign, there's no more like lag, and then it kind of picks up and it's like really slow to respond. This thing is very linear. I really, really like that. You can tell GM paid attention. I know I'm raving about like throttle response in a truck, but you can tell GM really paid attention to. I'm sure other people complained maybe, or maybe they just, you know, wanted to change it up themselves, but whatever they did a really good job, and I really commend them for that, because the feel, like look at that, take it off on a steep hill, and I don't have to compensate for it at all. It just, like, it feels very natural, which I love. Like, it feels like the throttle you'd get on a tuned truck. That's how good it feels, and you want it to be that way. Steering is great too. Like, look at that, little inputs. I'm in a big truck here, and I'm doing these little inputs, and the truck is actually moving, which is surprising. So I love the gear selector, love the gas, and I love the way the truck, it handles really well. It corners with very little body roll. and I think it's really good. I can really see where most of the development went in, and I think it's to driving, because like this drives so good. And you still got your buttons here on the back of the steering wheel. I actually went for a paddle click there, which I don't have, of course, in this. But yeah, I really like this. The way it drives is great. Like I said, I can almost overlook every other fault. I do wish the interior had more tech and was a little bit more modern looking and better. That is one shortfall. There's no doubt about that. And I can't, I wouldn't be giving an honest review here if I didn't say that. But really, the driving experience is great, and I've driven a new Ford. I haven't driven a new Dodge, to be honest, but I've driven a new Ford, and I have to say this drives better than a new Ford. It definitely drives better. I can, being a Chevy guy, I can totally admit the Ford has the better interior and tech, especially for towing, 100%. But this does drive a lot better. The only thing left for me to answer is, am I still going to buy one? And I don't know. I really like the way it drives, but I don't think, after driving, and I said, I said I would buy one if I drove one first, and it really impressed me. But I don't think it's enough of an improvement. The driving improvement is 1,000%, but I don't think the tech, I don't think the tech is that good, because I have Apple CarPlay in my truck, my 2005 with my head unit, and it doesn't have the other stuff that I can't do. So for instance, if I had a Ford Raptor or a new Ford, I could have the panoramic roof, which I really like the roof. Some people might not. I love the panoramic roof. You can't get it in this truck. Kind of lame. The towing thing too, I love the bird's eye view and all that tech, which I can't add that to my truck, so I can't get that in this truck. So, and there's a lot of other details as well. Like if you look at a new Ford, any new Ford truck with all the options, it's got some insane stuff in there that this truck just does not have. And I think that's where I'd want to be. It doesn't. If I'm looking at my 2005 truck with a head unit, and this doesn't really offer much over that, then I don't think it's worth it. This is still a really solid truck. If you're looking for a new truck, this is definitely a solid choice. But for me, I don't think it's worth the upgrade, and I think I'll have to stick with just my Duramax for now, which is my, I love that truck anyway, but I would like a newer one to take the load off of that truck when I do tow. But I don't think, I'm just not seeing this. I'm not seeing myself spending 50 grand or more on one of these trucks. Now, if I needed a truck to drive every day, I would buy one. The fact that I have other vehicles, I don't have to drive my 05 every day, because I will say, like I've been saying this whole time, this is fantastic. The drive, it drives like a car, and not just any piece of shit car, which would still be better than your average truck. It drives like a good car. It drives like I'm gonna go around a real sharp turn here, and it's got no body, look at it, it doesn't have any body roll, and the steering is really linear as well. I think I'm really blown away by the handling. So it kind of sounds like I'm ragging on it here by saying I wouldn't buy one. It's just that it's not like I'm so blown away that I want to go out and spend the money right now, because I don't need a truck. But if I needed one, I would totally buy this, 100%. There you go. That is my review of the 2019 Silverado. Let me know what you guys think. Seeing one a little bit maybe more up close, do you like the styling? Do you not still? I realize it's kind of a 50-50 shot there. But let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the interior as well. And hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you for watching. Take care. Have a great night.